Our programs are getting better and fresher. And it's because we are thinking about you. NTA, it's all about you.
The metal gong, which is popularly referred to as ogene in the southeastern part of Nigeria, is a musical instrument made out of pieces of metal. In ancient times, the ogene does not only serve as a musical instrument.
Giant in the sun, rich in human and natural resources, a land for tourists' appreciation.
NTA International News.
Acting President Yemi Osinbajo says federal government will use solar power to meet energy needs of Nigerians.
This will be replicated all over Nigeria, We are starting with 20,000.
Wife of President tortures the lives of Gofinda community in Abuja Municipal. A National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure produces indigenous electronic voting device. Hello there and a warm welcome to NTA International News of this time. My name is Justin Bemunye. It's glad to have you join us. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo says the Buhari administration will do its best to use solar power to meet the energy needs of the people, especially those in the rural areas. The acting president said this while launching the solar home system in Wona village, a suburb of the Federal Capital Territory.
This will be replicated all over Nigeria, We are starting with 20,000, but I'm sure that we'll ramp up very quickly. We've been talking to the private sector about involving themselves also in this project. We think that as solar power becomes cheaper, and it is becoming cheaper really practically day by day, we'll be able to afford to do even more, to deploy more across the country, especially to those places that are not at the moment served by our grid.
The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Okechukwu Enelema, has assured investors and indigenous manufacturers that government is not contemplating the reversing of the Nigerian Industrial Resolution Plan. Instead of these, at a media briefing in Abuja, Abdullahi Suleimani Yaji reports.
The federal government's drive to further boost economic growth in the country through the Trade Facilitation Agreement informed the need for the media poly by the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment to communicate efforts at attracting investment, which will stimulate growth and create wealth.
There was a time when, particularly in 2007, there was some crisis of confidence over sort of the issue of understanding the policies of government, including policies around monetary, fiscal, and structural policies. But I believe that one of the reasons why it's important to communicate where we stand, and it's because of that reason that people, so they can understand and plan. We have a policy in place already, the Nigerian Industrial Revolution Plan. The reason why we said we will implement this plan when we came is to send a very strong signal that there is no policy reversal being contemplated.
Another thing that we're trying to do now is to show our SMEs and their products that they're doing. So to this extent, we hope to go to South Africa in March for the Global Entrepreneurship Congress. We've been invited to go, and we're going to take up a whole pavilion for the Made in Nigeria initiative.
The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enelama, underscored the importance of the Trade Facilitation Agreement, which Nigeria signed last year, to include simplifying trade, elimination of barriers, and ease of custom clearance for exports. In Abuja, Abdullahi Suleiman Yaji, NTA News.
Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonayaronu, reiterates the determination of parastatals under the Ministry of developed technological concepts that can provide solutions to the nation's problems. This was at a presentation of indigenous electronic voting machine produced by National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI. Science correspondent Kirian Omaya reports.
Credibility of elections in Nigeria has been the bone of contention since the return to democracy in 1999. The quest for credible and hitch-free polls led to the adoption of card-reading device used in recent elections in the country. In pursuit of local content initiative, Dr. Ogbonayaronu directed NASENI to develop indigenous electronic voting machine using its artificial intelligence facility at the Electronic Development Institute, LD, in Awka, Anambra State.
This solar-powered electronic voting machine is very important because it will help us to have free and fair elections. It will also help us to conduct all our elections on the same day, as is done in many advanced countries of the world.
Director General of NASENI, Professor Mohammed Sani Haruna, explained that the voting machine is tamper-proof, solar-powered, with cloud-based election result collation system, which will address the nation's electoral challenges.
The solar-powered electronic voting machine with cloud-based election result collation system is developed using cloud-based computing.
The new voting machine has provision for real-time election result, diaspora voting, and incorporates facial recognition, radio frequency identification device options, in addition to thumbprinting. Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
And from the National Assembly comes a report that House of Representatives Committee on Information, Ethics and Privileges, National Orientation, has expressed its commitment, determination and total support towards repositioning NTA Television College Jos to meet the best standard. The members made this known while on oversight visit to the college. Yusuf Umar reports.
Established 37 years ago with the aim of providing professional training for NTA staff across the country, the NTA Television College has also metamorphosed to a degree-awarding institution in affiliation to Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, where students are exposed to the rudiment and practical knowledge of television broadcasting. Briefing members of the committee, Executive Director, Training and Capacity Building Ibrahim Lamisa, and Rector of the college, Dr. Barnabas Bam, says for effective training and service delivery to Nigerians in this digital era, the one and only television college in West Africa need to be equipped with the state-of-the-art facilities so that students of the college can get the very best they deserve.
Placement of facilities will impact knowledge. On a daily basis, cameras are undergoing transformation. And as these facilities are on
Of the President, in a message at the presentation of the borehole, said the gesture is to improve the general welfare of the people in the community. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
Residents of Gofinda village in Jua community of the FCT expressing their happiness over the presentation of a borehole by the wife of the President, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, through her project Future Assured. Inaugurating the project, the wife of the President, represented by the former Deputy Governor of Plateau State,
in our community, guiding the mosque at each of the prayer time. It was his duty this morning to be at the gate of the mosque. So while other worshippers are performing the prayer, I greeted him before entering the mosque, and as I was about sitting down inside the mosque, I just heard the explosion.
They said the civilian JTF that died along with the MOMA was a graduate of continuing education from University of Maiduguri and was supposed to collect his call-up later on Tuesday. The police in Maiduguri also confirmed the incident in a press statement made available to newsmen, indicated that the EOD personnel of the command have rendered the area safe and normalcy has returned.
With the increasing wave of suicide attacks on places of worship recently, residents and members of civilian JTF are expected to be extra vigilant at all times. From Dalori Quarters Housing Estate, Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Following the recovery of a treasure trove of materials from the decimated Boko Haram, the federal government has called on the media and general public to be vigilant, saying the decimated group has shifted its strategy towards dominating the media space, propagating a perverted version of Sharia law.
In the country.
Taking IGP round, Commissioner of Police Interpol, Olushola Subairu, and Chikwe Denze said the project, which was to cost $14 million, get done through public-private partnership at no cost to the federal government. Olushola said the world is grouped into 4 regions for easy monitoring. They speak on the benefits.
At the Interpol headquarters, there are databases of criminals, of stolen documents, work of art, and so on. So for us to access it, you need the I-247.
Marks the beginning of the use of the instrumentality for security in Nigeria.
With the upgrade, police say they are now a step ahead of criminal, as it takes just 30 to 60 seconds to access their database. From the force headquarters, Edina Justice, NTA News.
And if you're just joining us, you're watching NTA International News from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Stay on for more reports when we return after the break.
We'll be there to support him. We're promoting Made in Nigeria.
As a minor, he needs to be properly guided. He needs to be placed in the right trajectory so that the benefits and the fruits of his intellect will not be abused.
I learned it from school.
Okay.
When I got home, I showed my dad. Then he now said that I'll have a bow tie company.
Since his debut in 2015, Nelson Ashinze, who is the founder of Nelson George Clothing, has utilized indigenous material and African prints in propagating Nigeria's rich culture in clothing. In Abuja, Abdullahi Suleiman Iyaju, NTA News.
And for happenings in the world of business, let's join Olayinka Ojo.
Welcome to Business News. The Director General of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Mukhtar Usman, says the plan by the federal government to close the runway of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport for repairs is the best option. Usman said after a detailed review of the situation, the closure remained the best option for the country, and the best alternative to Abuja Airport is the Kaduna Airport due to its proximity and the facilities on ground. Salary earners in South Africa have seen a drop in their inflation-adjusted salaries for the 7th straight month. Head of Information Services said the weak rand and drought had a devastating impact on real income of employees and their families as inflation hots. Before we go, a check at closing figures on the floor of the stock market. And that's it on the business segment of the news. I am Olayinka Ojo. The news continues.
The 28th Summit of the African Union has ended in Addis Ababa with renewed commitment for African countries to sustain the Pan-African vision of the founders of the Union. Correspondent Omini Oden in Addis Ababa has details.
That was the formal readmission of Morocco into the Union 33 years after. Chairperson of African Union and President of Guinea, Alpha Condé, described the return of Morocco to the AU as very strategic and propels the bond of oneness among African countries. Newly elected chairperson of the African Union Commission, his deputy and the commissioners of the commission after inauguration assured that he and his team will sustain the legacy left behind with a renewed zeal to drive to success Vision 2063 of the Union. Addressing the assembly, the King of Morocco, Mohammed VI, said Morocco and Moroccans have missed being part of the Union for the period it lasted, King Mohammed said despite withdrawing from the Union, Morocco sustained relations with sister African countries through bilaterals in various sectors. He explained that the very recent is with Nigeria in the area of revamping the agricultural sector through joint venture in fertilizer production and economic emancipation of the two countries. What does this signify?
The return of Morocco to the African Union is a very good thing. Rwanda, I think, if I'm not mistaken, like Nigeria, have supported the return of Morocco to the African Union without condition.
Morocco has come in under no conditions, and I think that this should allow to build a new environment that will allow to build peace between Sahara and Morocco and have this issue solved within the African Union.
President Akufo-Addo of Ghana was availed the floor for a vote of thanks, being his first time at the AU as Ghana's president.